From this high-impact earthquake that shook Haiti, and this crazy 1991 Mount Pinatubo eruption to this 2019 Amazon rainforest fire. There are many natural disasters that have shook the entire world. They will never be erased in history. Out of all these disasters, here are 40 most horrific natural disasters caught on camera. Starting with the crazy high-impact earthquake that happened in Haiti on the 12th of January, 2010. This earthquake is Haiti's worst earthquake since the year 1770. It had a crazy depth of about 7.0 and dozens of aftershocks. Watch the earthquake as caught on camera in one of the areas affected. The impact recorded was massive, as there were about 100,000 to 250,000 deaths. The epic 2011 Japan earthquake and tsunami happened in the northeastern part of Japan on the 11th of March, 2011. It's also known as the Great Sendai Earthquake. It all began with an earthquake at Honshu. This caused huge damage that spiraled into a crazy tsunami wave that disturbed the whole Tohoku region. You are about to watch the craziest earthquake to strike Japan since the 19th century. About 18,500 people were missing or dead from this disaster that befell Japan. The next moment is no other than the deadliest tropical cyclone in the Atlantic basin the world experienced. This is the 1998 Hurricane Mitch. The cyclone caused huge damage across Central America, Honduras, and Nicaragua. The number of fatalities going beyond 20,000. Yes, we are talking about the deadliest tropical cyclone on record in Central America. Another natural disaster that will never stop being in the record is the 2003 European heat wave. This was the hottest summer that Europe has ever experienced since 1540. The most affected country in Europe was France. This heat wave caused so much damage that it caused health crises in many countries. The craziest fact about this is how it took over 70,000 lives. You'd think you've seen it all, but not so fast. The 1991 Mount Pinatubo eruption took things to another level. It was the second largest volcanic eruption in the 20th century. It all began as a chain of freatic explosions in the northern part of Mount Pinatubo. On June 6th of the same year, the eruption caused the occurrence of shallow earthquakes in the area. Sadly, about 20,000 people were moved to safety, while about 800 people lost their lives, and 10,000 people were left without any home to live in. The earthquake had a huge magnitude of 7.1. Puebla, Morelos, and Greater Mexico City were affected. As many as 40 buildings were noted to have collapsed. Also, over 300 people died, and over 6,000 people were injured in this catastrophe. The American rainforest fire was a huge one that also affected Brazil, Bolivia, Paraguay, and Peru. Fire occurs from time to time during the dry seasons as it's used to clear the forest before farming. But the 2019 Amazon rainforest fire became so wild that it burned over 900,000 hectares and caused the death of 2 people. This involved a chain of volcanoes that occurred at Eyjafjallajökull in Iceland between the months of March and June in the year 2010. It caused so much havoc that even air travel had to be put on hold in the western part of Europe. You definitely need to see what the eruption looked like. This is the worst natural disaster to have hit the whole of Bangladesh. It all started in Bengal, and in a jiffy, it heightened to a speed of 160 miles per hour. The storm hit Bangladesh on the 15th of November, 2007. This caused the death of thousands of people. It was recorded to have killed over 3,000 people specifically. This earthquake happened across 3 different countries, which include Nepal, India, China, and Bangladesh on the 25th of April, 2015 at a crazy magnitude of 7.8. Records have it that this is the worst natural disaster that befell Nepal since the 1934 Nepal-India earthquake. This hurricane was a huge one that lasted for a while, leading to a lot of damage in the United States and the Caribbean. The storm didn't stop until September 25th, 2024. Watch this! It caused a total of 120 across different countries, including USA, Grenada, Barbados, Cayman Island, Jamaica, Venezuela, Trinidad, and Tobago. This huge disaster hit Indonesia on the 28th of September, 2018. The earthquake was so strong that it was followed by a chain of aftershocks that's about 6.1 magnitude. The records indicated that over 4,000 died. Over 10,000 people were injured, with over 600 missing. Over 70,000 people were successfully evacuated during the disaster. This was an intense cyclone recorded to be the worst tropical cyclone that affected Africa. The damage was huge on countries like Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and Malawi. Over 1,500 people were recorded dead, making it the second deadliest tropical cyclone on Earth. The number one would be the cyclone that hit Indonesia in the year 1973, killing about 1,650 people. Flooding is one of the deadliest natural disasters that can befall any country. This was the situation in Pakistan in 2010 when the Indus River was flooded. The flood affected a large number of about 20 million people. Over 1,000 people died, and about 1.6 million houses were wrecked. Hundreds of thousands of people were left without any shelter. This is definitely one of the worst disasters to have hit Pakistan. Another deadly tropical cyclone in the book of history is the one that hit Myanmar in May 2008. It's known as the fifth deadliest tropical cyclone. The tropical cyclone caused a huge landfall that shook the whole of Myanmar. 10,000s of lives were killed. The damage recorded cost over $15 billion. The 2016 Ecuador earthquake appended on the 16th of April with a magnitude of 7.8. The effects spiraled in different parts of the country, from the capital to Manta, Pedernales, and Puerto Viejo. Many structures collapsed in different regions of the country. Over 500 people lost their lives with over 25,000 injured. This was the deadliest hurricane that has hit Puerto Rico, Dominican, and U.S. Virgin Islands. It occurred in September 2017. Over 3,000 deaths were recorded, and a huge damage worth over $91 billion was recorded. This cyclone disturbed Southeast Asia, especially the Philippines. Catch a glimpse of the disaster caught on camera. The disaster halted the lives of over 6,000 people in Visayas alone. The earthquake that occurred in Christchurch on February 32, 2011, had a magnitude of 6.2. Words can't adequately describe the quake. Watch this. The estimate of the damage was over 100 people killed and over 1,500 injured. This earthquake happened in the early hours on the 8th of October, 2005 in Jammu and Kashmir in Pakistan. The earthquake was recorded to have a magnitude of 7.6. Talking about effect and impact, it is the deadliest to have hit Pakistan, with the death toll going over 70,000 in Pakistan and over 1,000 in India. This earthquake happened in central Chile on the 37th of February, 2010, at an 8.8 moment magnitude. The quaking went on for about 3 minutes, and the impact was felt throughout Chile. The cities that experienced it the most include Concepcion, Arauco, and Coronel. This is the craziest earthquake in Chile since the one that happened in 1960. It recorded over 500 dead people and over 20 people missing. The Harvey hurricane affected Texas and Louisiana in the United States in August 2017. The damage was huge. Over 100 deaths were recorded with a damage of over $125 billion. You can imagine how many structures suffered loss for this to be recorded as the costliest in history. We have seen the Amazon rainforest fire in this video. Another similar one was the 2018 California wildfire that took over 100 lives. This was recorded to be the deadliest in the history of California, though there have been 2 other wildfires after 2018. This happened in Mozambique, and it was the strongest to have caused a landfall there. It wasn't only Mozambique that was impacted. Tanzania and Comoro Island were also affected. The damage caused was about $345 billion. Thankfully, over 30,000 people were evacuated, but 45 people were also recorded dead. Hurricane Irma is a Category 5 hurricane that first struck Leeward Islands. Everyone thought it was the greatest hurricane in the open Atlantic region until Hurricane Dorian came in 2019. Irma became the talk of the year, as it became the most searched term on the biggest search engine, Google, in 2017. The damage this Category 5 hurricane caused was so immense that over 100 deaths were recorded. This was a series of earthquakes that hit Japan on the 16th of April, 2016 at a 7.0 magnitude. There was a foreshock which had a 6.2 magnitude. The earthquake recorded the death of over 200 people, with over 2,500 people injured. This intense tropical cyclone was strong as its winds were sustained, and it caused a lot of damage in Vanuatu. Its impact reached Solomon Island, Tuvalu, and even New Zealand. About 15 people died either indirectly or directly from the tropical cyclone. But a lot of structures were destroyed, with over 3,000 people displaced from their homes. The island of Honshu felt so much heat on the 27th of September, 2014, as the Mount Ontake eruption occurred. Besides this eruption, the last eruption in Japan was in 1991. Over 50 people were recorded to have died from this eruption. The number 2 is no other than the largest earthquake that has hit Japan, and the 4th in the world. It happened in the early hours of March 11, 2011, at a huge magnitude of 9.0. It didn't just stop at an earthquake. After the quake went for about 6 minutes, it caused a tsunami. About 20,000 people lost their lives. Over 6,000 people were injured, with over 2,500 people missing. This 8.0 magnitude hit Sichuan, China in the afternoon on the 12th of May, 2008. Even though the quake hit off at Sichuan, the impact reached Beijing, Bangkok, and Shanghai. Many buildings shook as a result of this. Experiences of aftershocks from this earthquake went on for months, leading to another set of damages and casualties. A crazy number of over 80,000 people were recorded dead, with over 350,000 injured and over 18,000 missing. What other natural disasters would you love to see? Let us know in the comments.